I'm turning this huge storage area we have in our attic into an at-home gym. In part 1 and 2 of this series, we worked on a lot of the framing and wiring, and in this video we're going to finish up the wiring and get a good start on the installation. Please consider subscribing and stick along for the ride of this whole build. Alright, let's get started. The first thing we started to do was to run our 120 volt wiring for our cut-in color changing wafer lights. It might be excessive, but I decided to put 4 lights on each side just because I'd rather there be too many and they're going to be on a dimmer so we can always dim them down if we need to. You hate to get all the way done with the project and wish you put a couple more lights in. So conveniently enough, this house used to be wired with some sort of life alert system and had a bunch of low voltage wires that weren't being used run from the attic downstairs through a piece of PVC conduit. Conveniently enough, that system wasn't being used anymore, so we pulled them wires out and pushed 2 sets of 14-2 downstairs for our light feed and our plug feed. So we have our 2 feed lines coming in right here from downstairs in the basement. That pipe just goes all the way down. So I ran them down and ran them all the way to the panel. This box here is going to be accessible from the attic if I ever need to run more circuits up from the basement. But basically, I have my feed for the lights going here all the way up to that switch box. And then I have my feed for my plugs going down and up here. And then all the plugs daisy chained together. So that is all set to go. This switch box here, I have my load side, which is going up and feeding the attic lights. Your light wire, that goes up and daisy chains to all the light locations there, and there. And then our line side, which is our feed line coming from the basement. These attic lights were just staring me down, so I figured I'd go ahead and terminate these and put the lighting sockets in. And I wanted to feel like I could check something off the list of this project that has all kinds of stuff going on. So everyone's got their own way of terminating plug boxes. I like to strip the wires back and put a pigtail on your hot, neutral, and ground, instead of running both wires through the plug. This way, if the plug ever goes bad, it won't kill the rest of the plugs down the line. It will just affect that one outlet. Make sure you tuck your wires far enough back in the box, because when you go to put drywall on, you don't want to nick that with a Roto-Zip or a drill. So as I was terminating this switch box, I decided to run just a spare wire from this switch box all the way into the attic, just in case I ever want to turn a different light on. Then I have a wire there just waiting to be used. I'm going around and terminating all the plug boxes. It's nice to get that done now before you put the drywall on. A couple more to go and then we'll be all done with that step. So I plan to put R30 fiberglass insulation up, and you need to make sure that there is a 2-inch air gap between the bottom of your roof and your insulation, just so that it can breathe and you don't end up with any mold issues. So I'm using these plastic vents and going all the way down to the knee walls. That way there's lots of area for air to flow through there. All right, so we have a scene of working on something until we run out of material. And I thought I got enough of those vents. I am 14 short. $3 a piece, which is so expensive for a little piece of plastic, but gotta have them. All right, so we got our 14 gauge speaker wire. We are going to get our wires in the wall, located where they need to go, and back to this box over here. Yeah. Make sure when you're running your speaker wires that you don't run them next to any of the 120 volt stuff. There's a good chance that if you're ever running a treadmill or something up here and you happen to have that wire ran next to the speaker wire, you could get some noise coming through your speakers. We got all 4 of our speaker wires ran to here, all labeled front left, front right, back left, back right. And the loops are just sitting there, so when we cut in the speakers, our wires will be right there, right where we need them. All right, we finally picked up enough of the vents to finish up this portion of the project. Now we have to build a frame for the door. So the door in this room is actually going to open towards the old side of the upstairs. So the inside corners of the door jamb will actually be finished drywall. You can see here it's actually kind of like a double door jamb. But I think I have a good plan on how to make this look good on the finish end. We got this outer frame built. That is where the door will sit, opening this way. And also inside here, we went ahead and moved our lights that were right here off to the side. We're going to pick up some R30 insulation to put up in the ceiling. That insulation needs about 10 inches for its full R value, and that's just about what we have there. We have about 9.5. So once all that insulation comes in, we are going to go ahead and put it up. A couple of these spots, it'll be a little bit difficult to squeeze it up in there, but we're gonna have to get her done. Make sure you wear gloves and a mask for this part. You'll thank me later. I feel like we're making really good progress on the installation. I have one full ceiling side done. This took about 2 packs of R30 4-foot pieces of bats, and we're on to the second side, and that's my 3rd bag right there. I have 5 bags total, so I should be good. So you can see on the ceiling, I'm going to end up taping all my seams up. Unfortunately for me, I had to use 4-foot pieces. If you can get a full roll of this stuff, it would probably be a lot better and save you a little bit of time on taping. But it wasn't a big deal for me. I'd rather tape it up good to make sure we don't have any air leaks. And now we're gonna get started on the walls. My walls are just 2x4, so the proper insulation for that is R13. My plan to get a little bit more insulation is to go on the back side and put some 1-inch foam board just to give me a little bit better insulation. All right, that's gonna end off part 3 of the workout room build that we're doing. You can definitely tell it's not as echoey in here, and the insulation is definitely muffling your sound a little bit, so that's kind of cool to hear. In part 4, we're gonna be finishing off the insulation, and then we gotta do our ceiling strapping, and then we'll see if we get to drywall in part 4. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you're liking this series. If there's any questions or concerns, put them in the comments below. Consider subscribing and stay tuned for part 4.